Hey, ladies and gentlemen. Today, it is again one of the Try Hack Me rooms, but the topic is very new. It's totally new topic to me, especially because I just started learning this, and the topic is nothing but forensics. If you take forensics simply, it's a huge topic. There are vast number of concepts under forensics. If you take digital forensics, it is applicable to all the digital devices like mobile phones, cameras, computers, all sort of digital devices. But if you take computer forensics, it's a subtopic of digital forensics. Only you will be dealing with the computers, and you will be as you will be examining the computer systems, all sort of computers. But the topic today we are going to discuss is the subtopic of computer forensics, and it is nothing but Windows Registry Forensics. Why Windows? Windows, if it is essential to have the knowledge of examining the Windows systems because Windows is currently holding 80% of market share in desktop client. So it is very essential to have that knowledge. And why Windows Registry? For the people who haven't heard Windows Registry, here is my brief explanation. Windows Registry is nothing but a collection of database lies inside the Windows operating system, which contains each and every changes and each and every activities in it the user does. I mean, each and every system activities and user activities will be recorded in Windows Registry. So this is the brief explanation that you can keep in your mind. So without wasting a time, let's begin. Windows Forensics. So here is the room. I already started the machine, and the room is all about Windows Registry Forensics. And here we are going to see some of the basic tools that we may use to inspect the Windows registry and gather the useful information. And also some brief explanation about the Windows registry and what is the significance of, sorry, Windows Forensics and what is the significance of it. And apart from that, there are some other tips which contains the registry paths where you can look for crucial information. So let's begin. So the first part is Introduction to Windows Forensics. So it's a theoretical part. Let's see. Computer forensics is an essential field of cybersecurity that involves gathering evidence of activities performed on computers. Okay, so you can compare the computer forensics with the real crime forensics. What happens? I mean, what is the next action if any crime happens? The crime spot will be taken over by the forensic experts. They will be gathering the information about the crime and what are all the weapons used in the crime and how the crime happened and no, they will collect those details, right? So computer forensics is similar to that. If any incident, security incident, data leak happens, they will take over that image, uh, I mean the system image, and they will do some analysis, and they try to fetch the useful information from that regarding the incident. So this is the overview, and it is part of the wider digital forensics field, as I said before, which deals with forensic analysis of all types of digital devices. And the applications of digital and computer forensics are wide ranging from legal sphere, where it is used to support or refute a hypothesis in a civil or criminal case, to the private sphere, where it helps in internal corporate investigations and incident and intrusion analysis. A perfect example of digital forensics solving crime case is the BTK serial killer case. So here is the Wikipedia link. So if you search BTK serial killer case, then you might get to know what was the significance of digital forensics in that case. So actually, it was all about a floppy disk that's sent by the serial killer, and once they got that floppy disk, they did some forensic analysis on that floppy disk, and they found the original killer. Actually, that floppy forensics really helped them to find the serial killer who was not caught no, for so many years. And this case had gone good more than a decade when serial killers started taunting the police by sending letters. The case took a major turn when he sent a floppy disk to local news station that was later taken into evidence by the police. The police were able to recover deleted Word document on the drive, and using the metadata and some other evidences, they pinpointed and arrested him. So they completely used that floppy disk to find the serial killer. It was crucial evidence against him. Okay, now let's come into the Microsoft Windows Registry Forensics. Microsoft Windows is large, the most desktop operating system right now. Exactly, and private users and enterprises prefer it, and it currently holds roughly 80% of the market share, as I said before. And this means that it is very important to know how to perform forensic analysis on Microsoft Windows for someone interested in digital forensics. So that is the significance. And in this module, we will learn about different ways we can gather forensic data from Windows registry and make conclusion about about the activity performed on Windows system based on this data. All right. Now, here is the next topic: forensic artifacts. Artifacts. What is artifacts? Artifacts are the adequate data to perform the forensic analysis. So these are the data samples which we are acquiring from the system, victim system. And when performing forensic analysis, you will often hear the words artifact. So that is the terminology. And forensic artifacts are essential piece of information that provide evidence of human activity. For example, during the investigation of crime scene, fingerprints, broken button, shirt, coat. These are all the examples. So, to understand the word artifacts in forensics. Let's move on to the next one. In computer forensics, forensic artifacts can be small footprints of an activity left on the computer system. So, if an incident occurs on a system, on an enterprise, there must be any evidence of the attacker's activity. So, the forensics is all about looking for that evidence. And on a Windows system, a person's action can be traced back quite accurately using computer forensics because various artifacts a Windows system creates of a given activity. These artifacts often reside in locations normal users won't typically venture to. So this is another important point. So these artifacts will be residing in some interior place of the operating system where the typical users are not visiting often. For our purposes, these artifacts can be analyzed to provide trail of activity for an investigation. Okay. Now you may ask me a question, Perumal. You are saying we can able to collect all those forensic artifacts from the user computer itself, which means is my computer spying on me? I would say no, because computer actually the Microsoft Windows specifically record all these details for the sake of users' comfort. So actually, you may notice in the few things, everything, every activity that the user is performing, Windows will be recording it somewhere for the sake of users' comfort, as I said. For example, if you are trying to save a new file, when you click Save, Control Yes, it will be loading to a specific location. If you already customized that location, then you will be able to see that the location that you left previously. You saved the previous document. So these are all some of the examples. And also, when you see the Windows operating system, you can see the recent documents that you opened. So these are all the data that recorded by the operating system for your comfortability. All right. So that's what they gave on this whole paragraph. So let's see. Try to answer these questions. What is the most number of desktop operating system right now? I think it is Microsoft Windows. Microsoft Windows for sure, but here the answer is Microsoft Windows, I guess. Yes, that was the answer. And what is the term used to define a piece of evidence of human activity? Artifact. Yeah, that's the correct answer. Now let's move on to the task two. Task two is Windows Registry and Forensics. Let's read this. Windows Registry. So if you are a typical user, you might not aware what is Windows Registry. As I said at the beginning of this video, Windows Registry is a collection of database which stores all the crucial system configuration and the user activity information. So it's a collection of database. And for example, let me show that. So here I am in try hack me machine. I am opening run. From run, In order to interact the Windows registry, you need to use the utility regedit.exe. If I click enter, you will be redirected to this page, registry editor. So this is the Windows registry. You can see the folders here. So these are all the folders, also known as hives in registry terminology. So these are, we can say it as hives. Okay. So if I drop down this, I'll be able to witness so many entries here. So these are all the information stored inside a registry. And you can see the overall there are 5 root hives are present, and under all these root hives certain folders are present. And if you scroll and if you move to the end of this end of this registry tree, you will be able to see the registry members. So these are all called registry keys and registry values. So the name is registry key and the data is registry values. You can see the data value, I mean the value here. Actually, it is not human readable. So when you use regedit utility and interact with the registry, you will not able to understand what's stored in what is information stored here. But there are certain tools that you may use to understand what exactly stored in the registry. And it is also very crucial to know, uh, you can able to edit certain entries by using this regedit tool. But it is very critical to do, because if any unknown changes you make in this registry might affect your operating system or any critical configuration. So it is always advised to not do any editings on this registry without knowing what you are doing. So this is pretty much about this tool registry editor, I mean the regedit. Now let's move on to the TryHackMe room itself. Now, actually, the information I shared few minutes ago, they gave it as a paragraph here. And the Windows registry consists of keys and values. I said that. And when you open regedit.exe utility to view the registry, we just did that. The folders you see are registry keys. The registry values are stored, are the data stored in the registry keys, and the registry hive is group of keys. As I said before, if you see the registry, you'll be able to see the list of folders. Those folders are called registry hives. Okay. Now you can see the structure of registry here. So when you see the structure, uh, the registry on Windows system contains the following 5 root hives, and those root keys are HKEY current user, HKEY users, HKEY local machine, HKEY classes root, HKEY current config. So these are the 5 root keys are available. So let me showcase that once again. So if I see this here, I can see 5 root keys. So that's what they mentioned here. And I can use the tool regedit to interact with the registry and make the changes in registry. Okay, now here you can see the root keys in the left pane of the tree view. So that's what they gave. And the values are selected, values in the selected keys are shown in the right. So the value is not yet set in this particular screenshot, but usually this is where the value that belongs to that key will be stored. Okay, now let's move on to the below tabular column, and here you can see what is the each root, I mean root registry keys stores. So that's what they gave here briefly. So let's see the first one. HKEY current user contains the root of the configuration information for the user who currently logged on. So all the configuration information related to specific user who logged in at the moment. So those information will be stored inside HKEY current user, and the user's folder, screen colors, and control panel settings are stored here. The information associated with user profiles, the key sometimes abbreviated as HKCU. So let's move on to the next one. HKEY users contain all actively loaded user profile on the computer. HKEY current user is a subkey of HKEY users. So HKEY current user is only applicable to the current session, the current user who logged in the machine. But HKEY user contains the data related to all the users of the system. So obviously the current user key will be subset of HKEY users. And HKU is the short form of HKEY users. Okay, let's move on to the next one. HKEY local machine contains configuration information particular to the computer for any user. So irrespective of the user, all the machine related configuration details are stored here. And the short form is HKL. So HKEY classes root. The definition is huge. Let's read one by one. HKEY classes root, a subkey of HKEY local machine software. So HKEY local machine is superior to this HKEY classes root, and HKEY classes root lies in HKEY local machine software directory. And this information that stored here makes sure the correct program opens when you open a file using Windows Explorer. So when you interact with Windows Explorer, if you open any program or file, so this particular key makes sure you are opening the proper file. And the definition, the short form is HKCR. Starting with Windows 2000, the information stored under both HKEY local machine and HKEY current user. Actually, this HKEY classes root stored under both HKEY current user and as well as HKEY local machine. So this is another a small hint that you can keep in your mind. And HKEY local machine software classes key contains default settings that can apply to all users on the local computer. So there must be some default configuration, right? So that configuration stored usually in this path. And by using the registry editor itself, you can navigate to the path that you wish. HKEY local machine software classes. HKEY local machine under this software and under this classes. So you can see these are all the folders or the registry keys that stores the default configuration. That's what they are trying to say here. And let's move on to the next one. HKEY current user software classes has the settings that override default settings and apply to only the interactive user. So there is a default machine. You already logged in. It contains the default settings, but you are doing some certain modification. Let's say you are changing the desktop image. So in that case, you are making that change as one user. So the change you made will be stored in this current user directory, current user software classes. Actually, it is overriding the local machine default configuration. All right. And the next one is HKEY classes root key provides a view of the registry that merges information from two sources. HKEY classes root also provides this view for programs that are designed for earlier versions of Windows. To change the settings for interactive user, changes must be made under HKEY current user. So you need to keep this in mind instead of HKEY classes root. Perfect. And the next point is to change the default settings, changes must made under HKEY local machine software classes. And if you write keys to a key under HKEY classes root, the system stores the information under HKEY local machine software classes. So there are certain default settings, but you want to modify the default setting itself, then you need to make the change under HKEY local machine software classes. So this is another crucial point. And if you write the values to key under HKEY classes root and the key already exists under HKEY current user software classes, the system will store the information there instead of local machine. So another point to keep in mind. So let's move on to the next one, HKEY current configuration. So this is the fifth registry key or the registry hive. Contains information about the hardware profile that is used by the local computer at system startup. So this contains the hardware related details. So this is pretty much about the sort of information stored in all these 5 root directories. Now the next one, accessing registry hives offline. So let's see how to access these registry hives if you're not having access to the machine. Now you are accessing a live system, you will be able to access it using the regedit, right? But uh, you will be greeted with all these standard root keys. However, if you only have to access the disk image, you must know where the registry hives are located. When you are examining any other different third party machines or different machines other than your local machine, you will be getting the disk images usually. From the disk image, you should be able to fetch the relevant details to proceed the forensic analysis. And for that, you should know where to check for the images. So that's what they gave here. The majority of these hives are located in C drive, Windows, System32 config directory. And the directories are, so these are the directories that you can witness in this folder. Default, SAM, security, software, system. So they also gave each directory mounted where. HKEY uses default, HKEY local machine, SAM, HKEY local machine, security. So these are all the path, the registry path they gave, just for our understanding. And another thing is hives containing user information. So earlier we have seen the software security and the system information hives. So this is user information. So the user information hives are usually stored on C drive, users, and the specific user who logged in the machine, and sorry, the specific user, and where you can see these two files, dat files, ntuser.dat, user class.dat. So these two files are crucial. So you need to fetch these two files from the disk image. And user class.dat hives located in the directory. If you go a little bit in depth within the user app data local Microsoft Windows, you'll be able to witness the user class.dat. And the ntuser.dat file located in users and the username, the specific users directory itself. And to very crucial information is these two files are hidden files. So you need to unhide to see these two files. And let's move to the next one, Catchype Hive. So this is very totally a new hive to me. So let's see what it is. Apart from these files, there is another very important hive called Catchhype Hive. This hive is located in Windows App Compact Programs amcatch.hvd. Windows creates this hive to save information on programs that were recently run on the system. Note this point. Actually, this particular hive stores the recent configuration changes information. And the next one, transaction logs and backups. So far, we have seen all the configuration changes that we make will usually stored inside the registry. But what if any change occurs on Windows registry? That is where this transaction logs comes in. Transaction logs usually stores the uh, information related to the changes that we are making to Windows registry, me or system. If any changes happening on the Windows registry, then it will be stored by the transaction logs and backups. And the transaction logs usually stored inside this particular folder. So as we already seen, so that is the folder stores all these five information, and the transaction logs will usually stored in the same directory with the extension of .log, and the extension sometimes might be log1, log2, or log3, like that. And the registry backups are opposite of transaction logs. These are the backups of registry hives located in folder, and these hives are copied to this particular folder for every 10 days. So this is very crucial point. These registries are also being backed up because for every 10 days, because if you want to check if any changes occurred before 10 days, like that, in that scenario you will be able to get the registry backup from this folder and you can do the analysis. If you, so that's what they gave it here. It might be an excellent place to look if you suspect some registry case might have been deleted or modified recently. Got it. Now let's try to answer these questions. What is the short form of HKEY local machine? Let's take the first two letters HK and the first letter and the first letter of the third word. HKLM. That would be the answer here. Perfect. Now the next one. What is the path of the five main registry hives? Default, SAM, security, software, and systems. We have already seen that it's nothing but system32 config path. So this is what the answer. This is where all these five main hives are being stored. So if I answer, yeah, that is correct. And what is the path of AppCatch Hive? As I said before, here you can find the AppCatch Hive. It's usually stored in Windows folder, app compact, programs, appcatch.hive. So let me answer this. So we got it correct. The next topic is exploring Windows Registry. Let's do it. Okay. Now we have the basic understanding. Let's move on to the data acquisition. So before proceeding the forensics and forensic analysis, you have to acquire the data from the machine that we are going to inspect, right? So for that, there are certain tools that you may use. Some tools are open source, freely available. You may use those tools. And here they gave the list of tools that might be handy for you in this operation. So let's see what are those. Though we can use the registry, we can edit the we can view the registry through registry editor. This forensically correct method is to acquire copy of this data and perform analysis on that. However, we can go copy of the registry hives from Windows Registry System through configuration. We cannot because it is a restricted file. So what to do now? Though we know the path, so it is not possible to copy each and every file from the machine since those files are restricted for administrator alone. So for acquiring these files, we can use the following tools. First tool is CAPE. CAPE. CAPE is the derived data acquisition and analysis tool which can be used to acquire registry data. It's primarily a command line tool, but also comes with GUI, graphical user interface. The below screenshot shows the CAPE GUI. So here you can see the graphical user interface of the CAPE tool. So you can see the target source mentioned here and the target destination mentioned here. So if you can mention the C drive and the target destination, and you can mention what are all the hives needs to be copied. Then once you click the execute, it will fetch all those hives and it will be storing inside the target destination. So that is the speciality of this tool CAPE. And the next one is Autopsy. Autopsy is one of the popular forensic tools that out there, and it's an open source tool. It also gives you the option to acquire the data from the both live systems and from the disk image. So now let's see how to gather those data. After adding your data source, navigate to the location of the files you want to extract and right click and select the extract file option. You already know where those hives are stored, and all you need is to visit the application and right click and extract the files to extract the hive, disk image from the target machine. Okay, now let's move on to the next one, FTK imager. FTK imager is similar to Autopsy, allow you to extract the disk image or live system by mounting the set disk image or drive in FTK imager. So this is the user interface of FTK imager, and below you can see the option to export files and highlighted in the screenshot. So here they are showing how to choose the file and how to export the file. You can see the option here. So by clicking that, you can simply export the disk images. And another way you can extract registry files from FTK Manager is through Obtain Protected Files option. This option is only available for live systems and it's highlighted in the screenshot below. So there is another option, Obtain Protected Files, to obtain the files from the live system without affecting the the ongoing, the running system. So the screenshot is given here. However, it will not copy, the FTK major will not copy the amcatchy.hive file, which is often necessary to investigate the evidence of programs last executed. So what next? How we can capture this amcatch hive by using the FTK major? You can use other tools we discussed previously, like Autopsy. And let's move on to the next one, exploring the extracted files. So now you got all those required disk images. What you need? You need to import those files into certain tools to read all those activities to the tool. So here are the tools they gave. Registry viewer. So here is the screenshot you can see. In the registry users, you can see a couple of limitations. It only loads one hive at a time. That is the biggest drawback of this tool. If you see the screenshot, they only loaded ntuser.dat hive at a time. And let's see the next one, Zimmermans Registry Explorer. So this is one of the popular tools used by the forensic experts because the tool is very much flexible than the tool that we have seen earlier, Registry Viewer, because we will be able to import multiple hives at a time. That is the biggest advantage, and also the user interface is compact to the end user. So Eric Zimmerman has developed a handful of tools that are very useful for performing digital forensics and incident response. One of them is Registry Explorer. So there are a bunch of tools created by Mr. Zimmerman, and Registry Explorer is one of those. It looks like the below screenshot. So you can see the below screenshot, and also the bookmarks options are possible. And investigator can go straight to the interesting registry keys and values to bookmark the menu item. So when you see this, if a certain data loaded into the Registry Explorer, the interface usually look like this. So from here, you can navigate to the path we need and you can gather the information. Okay. And the third tool, Reg Ripper, Registry Ripper. The utility that takes Registry Hive as input and outputs as a report that extract data from some forensically imported keys and values. So the tool is pretty much, I mean, it is little different than the previous tools because it's gonna output all the details in file format, like text file format. All you need is to load the Hive and fetch it as a report. So these are all the three tools that we discussed.